Welcome back to the channel, guys. In the last episode we finished the floor of the van, and in this week's episode we are going to start with the walls and the ceiling.
We also have to continue the isolation in order to cover up all the metal which is still visible. On this side of the van I already started with putting up some wooden supports. Right over here we just screwed them directly into the metal with some metal screws, and we pre-drilled the wood so it wouldn't splinter. Then we went ahead and already covered the metal with Armaflex. We also measured already the wall that we're going to put here, and this wall is going to be a little bit different. This one is a bit thicker, it's going to be 12 millimeter. We will use a thicker one for here because we're going to screw all the Electra devices and everything on here, so it really needs to be strong in order to be able to hold everything. The rest of the walls is going to be all 3 millimeter wood. It's going to be cheap, it's going to be light, and the most important, it is easy to bend around all the curves of the van. We covered or traced the old piece that was actually on the wall in order to get the right curve and also the little cutout pieces. And another important thing is that the wall is not straight on this side, so they already measured the perfect line for us, and we just made sure to, if you can see it, to trace it out.
After double checking our markings, I started cutting and sanding our first wooden panel that will hold all our electrical equipment. So the first panel is on the wall, it's not attached yet. We made a cutout for this one, and we still have to make one extra for the door mechanism. When it's closing, it will just go through the wood, so we have to make a hole over here. Otherwise, we will also make a box for the wheelbase from the leftover wood, but it looks really nice and neat. While I was working on the cutout for the door hinge, Bobby finished the isolation and put up the vapor barrier behind the panel. After that, we attached the wooden panel to the studs that we previously installed. We are attaching the beams to the roof, and we are doing it in a special way to the side, not on the bottom of it, since I'm really tall. And if we have some roof and ceiling, it might be too short for me. With this way we can save a couple of centimeters, that's already a lot. When the ceiling was done, we started installing the studs to the wall. We were using 20 by 12 mm wood that we got from our local hardware store. The process was going pretty smooth, measuring, cutting, pre-drilling and attaching it to the van with self-drilling screws.
Up the wood. I started with the insulation already. I just made sure to put 9 mm Armaflex everywhere so that we don't have any seams. And then where there are seams, for example where the wood is, I made sure to use some really thick aluminium tape just to cover it up. And this is also that the moist doesn't go through.
finished installing all the studs and started the next step, which was installing the vapor barrier. We used about 18 square meter of reflective aluminum foil to cover the whole vent and secured it with a staple gun.
Last week we finished off with putting the vapor barrier around the entire van, and today it's actually really nice weather, so we can finally start with actually making the cutouts for the wall. Panel is cut. It wasn't that many cuts because we will use most of the panel. We had to make some little cuts for the bed supports, and we also made a hole for the cable to go through, which we then connected to the plug over here. We just have a little box behind it. We just made sure to glue it on as well, so in case we have to do some maintenance and we have to take the first box off, then we know that it's not going to drop somewhere in the wall. And yeah, now it's time to put up the second wall.
Now that the sun is shining, we are also working much faster and we are much happier. And this panel actually took like 10 minutes to put up. We were also more careful with the holes. We only have 2 that are empty, so we can fill them up later on. And now it's time for the lower part. This panel comes with some difficulties. We already have the offshore plug installed, which we cannot disconnect. So we have to make a hole for the cable and also to make a cut on the wood so it can slide in.
So the cable fits. We added it through the little piece that we cut here and then through the hole, which is a slight, like a millimeter, maybe even half a millimeter issue here. But we'll just cut it off with a saw right now.
We left the most difficult panel for the last. That's the one with the window, with the camper window. So since our van has a lot of curve in the wall, we are making a frame, an extra frame for the window, so the wall can bend towards that.
Eric is just holding down the wall we just cut, and from the other side I will frame out the window because we opened it before, so hopefully we would cut it out perfectly. Now that the walls are installed, I also started with closing off all the holes and also sanding them off nice and smooth. And it's looking quite nice. We weren't able to get rid of all the screws because some really just needed to be as strong as possible, so some are visible, but we covering them with another solution. Like most screws or things will be covered by cabinets or the bench or the bed. And in the case of the window, we're actually going to use a window trim, so you won't see any of it. So every wall and everything is sanded. It took me maybe like 1.5 hours to sand everything off really nice. I also sanded the walls itself just to make sure that the paint and the filled spots where the screws were are gonna blend in nicely. I'm just gonna go ahead and clean everything right now. I'm just gonna dust everything off. Open the doors as well, maybe to get a little bit of the dust out, because it's really, I can feel it in my nose. It's really dusty right now in the van. And then after, it's time to prime the walls. So I got my big gallon of paint. We actually bought it on sale, and it was like 30 or 50% off at our building store boxes. I got a roller, a bucket, and a brush, and now I'm gonna see how long it takes to paint everything in primer. So just when I was about to start painting, it started to rain outside, and we still have a lot of stuff in the van that I put outside in order to paint all the walls. So I had to rush and get everything in, which I did. But in the meantime, I started on the first wall. You don't really see because it's quite dark right now, but it's all painted with the primer. I also moved all of the stuff, like the bed frame and everything else we have, into the back of the van, or the front of the van actually. So right now I can start working on this whole wall. Primer is looking great. It's actually surprising how much the thin wood, like we only use like 3.6 millimeter wood or something, but how much it still sucks up of the primer. So I'm really happy we decided to do that. Now we're gonna start painting the top coat of the color. It's not that much different. It's a creamier white, a little bit shiny, so it also doesn't damage as quick. But first I gotta sand off a little bit again. So all the walls are painted. It's looking great. I think it might need a second coat in some places because the wood was still quite textured, but I think you won't see it really. I'm just in time because it's actually starting to rain, so I'm gonna clean up quickly, and next time we'll continue with the floor and the ceiling.